Hello everyone, it's Mike Levin on Wednesday, October 23rd. At the end of the day, on my way home from work, and I thought I'd walk down a few subway stops. I think I have the next possible one coming up right here, but I might even pass it to go one more, just in order to crank out another video. Maybe I can just keep putting these videos out at such a relentless pace that I'll inevitably cover the subject matter that's of interest to everyone right now, where a lot of search is going, and I'll try and trigger off another, hitting a hot topic. And so there's a whole lot of stuff on my mind lately. And even just sorting it out, having the means and the mechanisms by which to sort out what one is thinking about. Yeah, this would be one of my entrances here. I guess this is the Canal Street entrance. I'll be walking down a little bit. It's okay. There's,
still warm.
The skyline, and it's fun to think out loud to myself in these videos. So I have a certain old school approach to my tech. I like controlling the infrastructure. So you'll hear about these different things that are as a service online. There's software as a service, there is platform as a service, and there's infrastructure as a service. So ultimately, everything is running on real hardware. So the thing that is being abstracted away is the fact you're on real hardware, and various virtualization technologies isolate and sort of encapsulate a state of computing so that it can be containerized, so that that unit of processing power can come up with preloaded instructions, so that there's not even a boot process. There's even a state of memory. You can flip a switch, and so that server's ready to do your bidding by just changing where things are pointed to. It's containerization is a step even less abstract than virtualization, because virtualization is saying you're convincing things that you're running another server here. But the actual truth is that you're just doing basically the same trick as chroot to change your root path on a Linux system. So everything old is new again, and containerization is hitting the mainstream because it's a way to activate pre-canned systems that are already in whatever mode they're supposed to be in, listening to, being part of some larger network that's accommodating demand and scaling to need. So old school can't ignore virtualization. It's good tech. But the concepts of virtualization have existed for a long time in old school, especially containerization. Now, there's a certain formalizing and awesome image preparation occurring now in containerization and virtualization, because ultimately you're going to run the contents of your container in a virtual machine. So while not the same technology, they are very closely related, because a perfect sized container for a certain instance of a type of virtual server, instantiated or divvied out as part of the resource pool that's available, is a convenient way to do things. You match up and you optimize your container size and what it's doing with a certain spec of a virtual computer you're asking for, which among other things might have some basic local hard drive space, storage, local storage, as if you were working with a file system. So every instance has a little hard drive and has consistent paths of a typical Unix type system with maybe additional features added through pre-installs before the snapshot was created, so that this container image of a certain type of computer server can be spun up almost instantaneously by just pointing something somewhere. Bam, new server available. And if some addressing and routing system knows it's available, there's some resource pool being checked every once in a while saying, hey, where are my new servers? Then you can write things that can take advantage even of that, and your apps can be scalable even though you are greatly still working old school, because you know that you can containerize the things you're doing and turn them into scalable apps. Now, the things I'm doing are often starting out as IPython notebooks, Jupyter notebooks. So I start my coding where it's easy, and that is a service that can be provided to you very locally by your local system, because the company Anaconda did the miraculous job of making Anaconda install along with Jupyter Notebook and a bunch of other things like the Boca Python visualization library to make cool graphics of your data, graphs and charts that might be interactive and animated. And let's see, I have another one entrance here at Franklin Street Station, which I'll be passing in a moment. A whole bunch of city bikes. I think I'll get some interesting New York scenery into the picture every now and again, because it is, after all, the Emerald City I'm walking through, and it's just magical kind of light that exists at certain times of day. And sort of free associate think and capture my thoughts, because the way I do this, I could be doing live video, and that could help sort of kick off my evolving web presence, which currently deals with the skills of bringing services to business that give you a sort of high-tech kung fu feeling without having to be bogged down by large projects and a lot of requirements, expensive requirements. So you develop your app some way or another. Oftentimes the easiest way is a Jupyter notebook, and then you size it to fit to run in an automated way by copying from the Jupyter notebook into a standard.py file, and have a standard Linux instance spun up with your service running and ready to work, or running on a scheduled basis. It's a way to containerize, I guess it is its own word. It is self-descriptive. It's a way to turn instances of stuff you're doing into multiple instances, because you make a copy of yourself and you instantiate more and more copies. So, this stuff can scale, but 9 times out of 10, I'm not really designing it to scale. I just want stuff that runs when I want it to run, how I want it to run. So, you need to have something scheduled. It has to have a heartbeat to it. You have to be able to make something that can wake up and at least say, hey, I'm here and I'm working. Directly under your control, using what you know of standard Linux systems, which, if you're given the assurance that that is a real instance of hardware and that resource slot is dedicated to you, and there won't be necessarily the system going away or going down. There's systems in place to bring it back up. Whatever you code in Jupyter Notebook, if done properly, you can have running on a scheduled basis in the cloud or on other hardware you control. So I'm going to be setting up a personal server to have a heartbeat. So the idea is of one of my first projects to sort of hit home what I'm talking about with data mastering is, while it's a craft, you are normally exercising on behalf of an employer. You can have something running out of your home on a piece of hardware like a home server and not even be paying a cloud monthly subscription, not rely on cloud services per se, except insofar as your home server might be connecting to them to do stuff. You are not developing a server. It's not sitting there to answer requests. But every once in a while, at a certain period of time, and I've determined that period of time to be 4 hours, so that there are 6 heartbeats per day. You can expect 6 heartbeats to come in, one in the early morning, one in the, I guess, afternoon, one as evening starts, one at night, one at late night, one at early morning, and I think that was all 6. And so 6 times a day, one of each of those comes in, and your server's running. You've got a place where you can plug other things in. Anything you can write in a .py file, have run 6 times per day to do your bidding, like the Sorcerer's Apprentice animating the brooms. And this is the basic kind of skills I'm going to be helping to try and communicate to you, explaining why it's becoming a new form of modern literacy. Can you automate things to be working on your behalf even when you're not? It's a good investment, like Warren Buffett. If you're not somehow finding a way to work in your sleep, then you're losing money. So he was saying that towards investments, but I would tell you that applies too in just your mere ability and willingness and cleverness and figuring it all out on how to automate stuff to be going on your behalf all the time because of stuff you coded and stuff you got running on a piece of hardware that is very typical and representative of many other identically resourced pieces of hardware you might spin up through whatever home hardware, Raspberry Pis, or cloud servers. Or there's a new thing, and I've got to get its name. I'm so tempted to multitask, but I can't because I can't stop the video. Maybe I should go back to 2 phones every day. The other having an internet connection too. That way I can Google stuff and be online while I'm talking to you. Wouldn't that be meta? So there is a new technology that simplifies what I believe is Kubernetes, the virtual machine deployment, container deployment system, so that you can do the tricks like spin up a virtual server fast. And it is one that is based on micro servers, and I'm probably going to wrap up here, but very small versions of Linux, exactly of the sort like I was getting at with let's see, this is Chamber Street Station, and there's a 1 here, so I'm going to be taking this to go downtown. So I'll wrap up there, but suffice to say the ending point. What is the ending point? Was I even making a point anywhere? It was having something to do with I really want to wrap up so I don't seem crazy as I walk down here. But I'll pick up thereabouts next time I talk to you. Thanks for joining me. Hope to see you again soon. Don't forget to subscribe.